And actually a few other people have too. It's sold for over 2 million copies. The book is outlived by Dr. Peter Attia. And basically the book is a blueprint of how to live better, longer. Here's the premise of the book. Historically, medicine has been focused on keeping people alive longer by treating your medical problems as they arise. What Dr. Attia's lifelong mission has been is to research how to help people live healthier longer. Not so much live longer, but have a higher quality of life while we are alive. So he's all about preventative medicine. Here's a little bit of the research that he discovered. The most important thing, above all, for older folks can do is to exercise. He calls exercise the most powerful longevity drug. He talks at length about both aerobic exercise and strength training. And in his research, he studied and tested thousands of people over the 30 years. He asked them, what would you like to be able to do 10 or 20 years from now, and then backtrack to see what you should be doing today to be able to do those things in 10 or 20 years. And here's some of the things that people suggested when they're, say, 70 or 80. I'd like to get up off the floor under my own power, using at most one arm for support. Some of these try, they're not that easy. Pick up a young child from the floor, lift a 20-pound suitcase into the overhead compartment of a plane. Balance on one leg for 30 seconds, and if you really want to make it a challenge, close your eyes and do it for 15. When you don't see a curb and you accidentally step off it, do you catch yourself before you fall? For younger people, almost always the answer is overwhelmingly yes. But as we age, we have less strength and balance, so falling is more likely. So how do you train your bodies to be more like that younger person in this scenario? Dr. Attia suggests that weight training is the key. When your body is stronger, you have better balance and adapt better to situations like accidentally stepping off the curb. He thinks strength training is especially important as we get older to slow down our naturally declining strength. And one last thing the research shows, non-exercisers have the most to gain by changing. That is, if you're in the bottom 25% and you start doing an exercise program, you're going to increase your lifespan and your health span way more than somebody who, say, is 50% and gets to the 90% level. So it's really important for all of us to do that. I am so grateful for the body that I have, and in this book, Outlive. And I hope all of you will join me in making our physical bodies a priority in 2025. Thank you, Rotarians.
Okay, here we're gonna put that into practice here. I'd like everybody to stand up. Here we go. Stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. All right, go ahead and sit down. All right, that's one rep. For the young people, I just wasted your time. For the older people, I've kind of added to your physical activity by 30%. So, nicely done there. Exercise doesn't have to be unusual stuff there. Okay, our front line, the Spur reporters, Will, Spur publishers, Kathy, Irv's doing a photographer along with a bunch of other things here. Paul's our audiovisual, our greeters, Joel, and our videographer now not with us, so we have Sonia doing our videography. And thank you to everyone who made the camera show up and turn on. And wow, it's just a lot of work going on here. So trained professionals at your service. Moving on. Sergeants at our Trex and Bob. Bob was here.
He was.
Well, thank you to Bob to come. That's very cool. Even if you can't stay the whole time, that's amazing. Our web maestra, it's Kathy. Public outreach is Kelly. We should outreach to Kelly, make her come a little more often. All right, here we go. Next up, introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. All right, so if you're not our speaker, but you are a visiting Rotarian, or a guest. So let's do visiting Rotarians first, and let's have yes, right there. Turn around. You're going to introduce Diane, but she's going to introduce herself in a second. So, well, we'll do Diane in just a minute. Diana's going to hear and help us with a announcement for Richard's dinner. So we'll do that. Do we have any other Rotarians in the room? Okay, let's do guests now.
All right.
Very good. So Paul, you want to go first?
All right, good.
You're on.
Hello, Rotarians. So I have Bob Carling with us. After an illustrious career at Sandia Laboratory, he was our council member for 8 years, recently vice mayor. This is his third meeting. We're excited to have him join us.
Now, Paul, have you made sure that he has an application?
He will get an application this afternoon.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, thank you. Wow.
And you really picked the best club in town. Just,
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's go here.
Yes, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I am here with my office manager, Tammy Weissock.
Welcome. Yes, sir.
Yes, Rotarians and guests, I would like to introduce Lily Hyder. She's here for the first time, and she is a retired electrical engineer, and her and her husband had a business not only here in the States, but in Berlin for years. So we're happy to have Lily with us.
Yay, welcome.
and is Miss Lily looking possibly at joining our club? Are you interviewing us?
Okay.
So she's interviewing us today.
Okay, so be better than normal. All right, guys, that's all I'm asking. Just a little click above your, standard factory setting, because we're trying to make ourselves attractive to new members, not be overly honest with them. We'll do that later. All right, up next, Vineyard Alternate School Student of the Month, Bill. Okay, Amy. We've got all sorts of folks here. Come on up. Yes, we got the game.
So Bill couldn't be here today, but so I'm doing the honors here for the Student of the Month from Vineyard High. Principal Tammy Rankin is here to introduce the student. And so, Tammy, take it away.
So I am Tammy Rankin, the principal of Livermore Alternative Schools. Thank you for giving me a chance to celebrate Eileen Lugo, who is a student at Vineyard Alternative School. Teachers describe her as hardworking, responsible, and respectful. She's a student who sets high expectations for herself. She asks thoughtful questions and works hard on all of her assignments. She has made a positive mark in our school, and we are excited to celebrate her. Congratulations.
Hi everyone, my name is Eileen and I just want to say how grateful and honored I am to be here. I got my mom with me over there. My plans for next year are going to Las Positas College to get my associate's degree and then transferring to a four-year college to pursue a career where I can help others.
You got your camera out? For you, here. One is a yard sign that you can put out and show that you're a student of the month.
Okay, here we go. Let's get together.
Okay. And
Everybody please here, like we like each other.
and Amazon gift card. So anybody?
Congratulations, well done. Yay. All right, announcements. Pat, grab a microphone. Sheila, can you hand that man a microphone? All right. So, go ahead.
President Mark would like you to know that District 5280 Wildfire Disaster Relief Program is already underway, and thanks to President-elect, who has already sent out memos on this, we're in good shape.
Next page.
Running.
All right, thank you. On the next page, we have a little more information about that. So this is actually their charitable foundation, just like our Rotarian Foundation. If you click on the link that was in the email itself, it takes you right to their foundation, and they'll put the money right where it is needed. 5280 had a tremendous amount of impact from the fires, and so there will be an almost endless number of ways to spend the money there. So do take a look at your email. Yes, sir?
Does that include both the Altadena as well as the Pacific Palisades parts of the fire? Do you know?
I do not know. I do know that they were the heaviest hit, so I didn't actually get out my foundation, my district maps. But my guess is they probably touch either, if they don't include both, they touch very close to both.
Yeah.
So I think you are in very good shape there, because 5280 is a pretty good sized district down there. All right, Diane. All right. Diane's going to come up here. Put the microphone.
Good afternoon. Rotarians, President Mark, fellow Rotarians, and honored guests today. My name is Diane Dorn. I am a proud member of the Rotary Club of Pleasanton North, that way. Home of Richard Flanders, home of our president-elect, our president-elect, her brother, sorry. Richard asked me if I would come here today and talk about the Richard King dinner at Blackhawk Museum on Sunday, February 2 at 5 o'clock, no host bar, dinner at 6. This will probably be the one and only tribute dinner and donation to Richard King Rotary Peace Center that we will do, that 5170 will do. Among, how many people in this room have heard Richard speak when he was, almost everybody?
Yeah, when he was alive.
Of course, he passed away in October of 2024 after a short illness. So one of the things that's very impressive is that our RI president, Stephanie Urchik, will be joining us. Mark Maloney, who was the RI president when I was president of my club in San Leandro, will be there too. And Gary Wong, who was RI president in 2015, will be there as well. Auction items include dinner with Stephanie Urchik in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, her hometown. She's very proud of being from there. An African safari trip, an Arizona getaway in a beautiful home, and this is Herb's home, with golf outings, dinner, and airfare included. Wow. So this flyer comes from the table I'm at, but if you click on this QR code on the bottom of the flyer, bottom left, you'll be able to easily get your reservation for dinner. I think we have a capacity of 400, and Richard told me about a week ago there's 200, so there's plenty of room for everyone. If you haven't, is there anyone here who hasn't been to the Blackhawk Museum? Boy, 1, 2. Yes, that's great, fantastic. You all know that it's really a beautiful place, not only for cars, but also for a lot of preserved animals, I think is what I'll say about that. That's the nice way to put it, from many big game safari adventures. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, President Mark, for being so nice to me, and for all of you for being so welcoming. I appreciate it.
All right, yes.
I just wanted to say, Diane, so if you can't buy tickets and go, or if you can't go, you can contribute to the endowment fund, which is a very worthy cause, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Diane, since you have a microphone. So in addition to contributing, could you shoot me over a quick email with this in it? Because then I'm going to have Joel send it out to the entire crowd. So just in case you didn't have your phone with you, although you all do, I know you do, and you didn't click on the little QR code there. So just a pop quiz here. So when is the dinner?
February 2nd.
February 2nd. Where is it?
Blackhawk.
Blackhawk. Will it be a lot of fun?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So there are cool prizes there. So do think about showing up if you don't have anything else going on February 2nd. It's not that long. We're just a couple weeks out from February 2nd. So thank you very much on that. And Diane, you're going to shoot me an email, correct? Or get one sent to me so that we can send it up to the club, right?
Yes,
Perfect.
the one I sent you a few days ago should have
That
that
would work.
information on it.
I will do that.
I will send you another one.
All right. Very good. Do you know what? Is it our 69th or 70? I can never remember.
69.
Well, it says 70 in there, but it says 69 on the table. Oh, all right. Well, so 69 is better. All right, come on up. Let's talk about what's going to happen here, Bob.
I need to sit down here. Okay, so yeah, duly noted that I made a mistake there. My bad. It's the 69th. Originally, we thought it was the 70th, and I used an old slide to modify it. Anyway, so we have sold 131 tickets. That's 1/3 of the tickets. So that's really good. The bad news is we still have 2/3 left to sell. And so the bad news is when they're gone, they're gone. So if you're thinking about having a table and it's online, it's not, you can't tell Deborah, hey, reserve me a table, I'll pay you the day of the event. That's not going to work. You got to get your ticket, and you better get it before the 1st of February because prices go up. And there's an email coming out, if it's not already out, Joel, and of how to buy a ticket again. You went through a tutorial last week. Also on your table, you can take, there's 1 or 2 flyers that I've got an example of here. Well, it's on your table, that's okay. Oh, and look at this, a crab lady.
Yes.
Where the heck did you get that?
You know, I saw it, it was at another crab feed and I stole it.
Okay, yeah, what we're looking at, take that home, you can use that, but please, the sooner we get all the tables sold, it just makes us feel good, okay? To know the thing's sold out and we can move forward and not have to waste money advertising. Next thing, what I really want to talk to you today is about how we make our money, and that's with live auction items, and I've got a list of samples there. We're doing pretty well on live auctions. We've got 2 condo vacations, we've got 1 hosted dinner, but we need some more. I'd love to have another big hosted dinner and maybe a special event like the Paul Banky Ranch. So think about a live auction, or somebody you know could donate a business a live auction. The high-end silent auction items, say I say high-end, we want these to be at least $100 in value for the silent auction. We're going to go with a little less in number, hopefully, and a little higher in value. So, and you can donate, but who was it? The one movie, the guy said he really liked money, but he liked other people's money better. That's what you want to get. You want to get other people's donations, okay? So, and I did put on your table an example of a form. If you have something to donate, take this home, fill it out, and bring it to me the next meeting. If not, and if you haven't decided what you're doing yet, I've got a lot of these forms left over. And the last thing is, we're meeting tomorrow night, as usual, at my house at 5 o'clock. So tickets, donations, as soon as you can.
All right, backing up to that slide there, it's in the fine print. Do you know where Bob lives? Anybody know where he lives? He lives at, backing up one slide. Oh, there it is, 2273 St. Charles Court. There it is. So right at the bottom. See, this is the questions are always easy here. We've got the answers right there. Alrighty, next week we've got our own Jamie Scheffler. Oh man. This one's going to be an amazing one. If you've heard David speak, he's a captivating speaker, so I'm looking forward to this one. Yes?
Well, I have a little announcement. Am I on there?
Yes, you do. So you need to talk before we get on to our speaker this week. So Sheila?
Yes.
Immediate past president Sheila?
Yes, sir.
You have an announcement.
Yes, I do. So as being immediate past president, one of my chores is to be the sunshine girl. And
what is that?
well, and that That title, thank you, President Moore, is you folks let me know when there's somebody in our club that maybe is not feeling well, or they've had things happen in their family, and I take care of sending out cards, get well, and etc. So one of the things that I kind of tried to start my year, but it didn't go anywhere, is checking in with our members. So moving forward, what I'm going to be doing is kind of checking attendance here and there to see if maybe one of us has been missing for several weeks, and we need to check in on them. I will tell you, when I joined 15 years ago, you guys were like a big family. You came here to Rotary, but you golfed together, you went to dinner, you vacationed, your kids played sports. So you guys were all connected, which was one of the draws for me when I joined. But as time moves forward, that doesn't happen as much anymore. So I am going to kind of reach out to some of you seasoned members that know some of our longtime families here in our Rotary Club, and I refer to us as a family, in the event that I don't hear from someone or we don't see them here after a few weeks. And just to check in, it may be just to call and say hi. Some of you are not able to come because of business obligations, but there's some that there may be something going on. So just wanted to throw it out there. And also, if you know something about someone, please let me know. I don't have to share anything, but I can shoot a card out. Did you have something, Mike?
Yes, I wanted to add that I got a card from the club with all kinds of great little signatures and statements, and I appreciated it very much after my successful back surgery. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yay! All right. So there's a couple of different parts to this. The first part is, when you're here, look around. Who isn't here? And if that same person isn't here a couple weeks in a row, let Sheila know. The worst case that would happen is Sheila's going to reach out and just say, hey, what's going on? And they said, I went to Europe for 3 weeks. So, fantastic. And that's also an opportunity for fundraising. So there's really no downside to this program. If you're off having fun, yay, better for you. If you're not, and a little under the weather, fantastic. We'd love to reach out to you, make your day just a little bit better. Jay, what you got?
If you missed a meeting or two, and you were not aware you missed a meeting or two, you'll get my experience, which is the warm personal call from Sheila, which begins, are you dead yet?
Yes. We're still working on the bedside management.
Delivery.
Delivery. Boy, you're going to have to work off the script, both for the words and the tone.
Yes.
Yeah, tone matters. All right, President-elect Pat. Next week, this week, speaker is Steve McCoy Thompson. Are you going to do a quick introduction of him?
Yes, I'd be happy to.
All right, let's have you wander up here to the front of the microphone and tell us just a little bit about our speaker. Perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, President Mark. Steve McCoy Thompson.
Microphone.
Closer.
There we go.
Thank you, President.
There we go.
So Steve McCoy Thompson is our speaker today. We're pleased to have him with us. Steve has worked for 30 years at the nexus of business, government, and the nonprofit sector to effect positive change in the world. Steve has supported Gratitude Network since its inception, including as a coach for several amazing Gratitude Fellows, and is honored to help lead this incredible network of people and partner institutions who want to make a positive impact. Previously, he has served as executive director of 2 successful nonprofits focused on urban development, education, respectively, and also co-founder of the Three Valleys Community Foundation, which serves, as many of you know, the Tri-Valley region in California. Steve is happily married with 2 children, has enjoyed working and living in over 50 countries, including over many years as well, including China, India, and Togo, West Africa. He has a graduate degree from the International Fletcher School at Tufts University and an undergraduate degree from Duke University, where he also studied at Beijing Teachers College and Nanjing University. Steve, would you like to come up to the podium?
Hey, thanks a lot. It's great to be here. One nice introduction. One thing that you didn't mention is that I am actually a proud Rotary member. And I'm with one in Pleasanton, the Pleasanton Rotary Club, not the Pleasanton North. We're very great partners. I love Herb Ritter. Our format's very similar, so I'm very comfortable here. We have one difference, is at the beginning of our club meetings, we collectively announce that we are the world's greatest Rotary Club. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
But they missed the mark.
Lynn said that she would be happy to debate. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about Gratitude Network, but what this is about, it's a nonprofit that helps other nonprofits to scale their impact. And what I want to really engage in a dialogue with all of you, because my hope is that we can collaborate, that we can support the kinds of nonprofits that you're supporting. And I'll tell you how we do that. And because I was looking at the different nonprofits that you're already working with, both in the area and abroad, it's really impressive. We are working in the same areas. So I really believe in the power of collaboration. And so I want to explore that a little bit. So let me tell you a little bit about me, and then I'm going to ask a little bit about you, and then I can tell you about what Gratitude Network and see how we can work together. So I think this is, let's see. Okay, well, I'll get to that. So for me, I started off in the nonprofit sector. I worked for a group called the International City Management Association. So city managers. Woo! Yeah.
Sorry, that was a fairly small group.
I can't tell, is that sarcastic woo? No. Real woo?
He was a city manager.
Great. So you know ICMA.
I do.
Great. And so city managers are the members. And so when I first joined, we would actually go around the world. I was part of their early consulting division, and we would go around the world and help governments with good local government practice. And we helped establish the first city manager form of government in Krakow, Poland, and other cities. So that was awesome. And then I wanted to see what big business looks like. So I moved from Washington, D.C. out here, and I joined Bechtel Corporation. So you all know that, right? I think Bechtel used to manage the lab. Yeah, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, so we'll leave that over here. So I worked for Bechtel for a number of years, and then I joined Deloitte Consulting, and that's part of, I got to travel around the world, and people would pay me to give them advice. So wow, can't beat that. So that was great. And then my heart was really in nonprofit, and I do believe that the way you can make change in the world is at that nexus of government and business and nonprofits. So I circled back, and I run a couple of nonprofits, and one of them is PPIE, so the Pleasanton Partnerships and Education Foundation, which is right next door. So Livermore has your foundation, Pleasanton has theirs. And so I ran that for 7 years, and we grew a lot, and we have our fundraisers, we do the annual run and all that. So, and then I was in part of this group called Gratitude Network. And Gratitude Network, it's really interesting. It was founded by a friend of mine named Randy Haken. And he was one of the early employees at Yahoo, did well, and then he became a venture capitalist. And the idea was to try to take that model, the venture capital model, and apply it to nonprofits to help them scale, to help them grow their impact. And so the idea is to have a very rigorous program to invest in these nonprofits and help them grow. And that's where I think that we could collaborate. Okay? Great. So one thing I wanted to ask you, or at least I was looking at the work that you're doing. It sounds like you're doing a lot of work locally. You work with Sunflower Hill. I know that Kelly Bowers is a member. She is the CEO, as you know, of the Three Valleys Community Foundation. And I am actually the co-founder of that community foundation. I thought, there's kind of a need for this, and so we worked together and we created this thing. And then Three Valleys has a good partnership with TVMPA. Kathy Young, hello. You all know that. So we work together to try to, bring the philanthropic dollars to invest in this community. And so I'm very invested in this community. And so I'm impressed by the work that you're doing with Kelly's very involved. I'll talk to her about how she needs to attend more often.
Very good. Or she'll get a call from Sheila.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Are you dead yet?
I'm working on it.
Yeah, exactly. Just impressed by the groups that you're working with in the area, including Sunflower Hill. And also you're working, it sounds like you have 3 projects in Nicaragua. Gratitude Network works there. You have programs in Nepal. In India, we've worked with like 30 different nonprofits in India, and in a number of other countries, Guatemala. And so that's what we do. And what I found when I have been working with nonprofits is that there's a couple of challenges. And one that is related to when you give money to a nonprofit, if you don't invest in their capacity, then that money won't achieve its goals. And so when I was working in India, there was a famous program where they put a lot of money into providing solar power to these villages. They were very excited, and they were going to get all these villages deliver electricity, but via solar power, so it's very sustainable. Well, as you know, after 4 or 5 years, the solar panels broke. And because there was no ongoing investment in the organization that installed them, or provided them with capacity to help maintain them and repair them, this is what happened. And so then the village, you know what they did? They loved the electricity, so they went and got diesel gensets to power the TVs and the refrigerators that they wanted. And so as a result, the intention of this program to build sustainable power ended up with a high polluting diesel gensets. So you have to invest in the organization. And the second is that having run a nonprofit, Kathy knows this well, there's a lot of burnout. The turnover of nonprofit leaders is very high. The one statistic is that within 10 years after formation, about 50% of the nonprofits have failed. They're not around anymore, or they've certainly not achieved their mission. And so I know that there is a challenge in terms of funding nonprofits, right? You want to fund the books, you want to fund the schools, you want to fund the things that you can point to. Absolutely. Our Rotary Club has a big wheelchair donation program. We're very proud of that, and it makes a huge difference. But you also have to invest in the institution to build their capacity. So what Gratitude Network does is and there's a statistic, that we provide mentorship and business skills and fundraising strategy. And we can show that, now there'll be a statistic on this later, but within 3 years of our program, the nonprofits that we've supported are typically able to triple the number of children and youth that they serve. So I'll tell you a little bit about how that works. But there's the backstory on Randy. And over the past 10 years of operation of Gratitude Network, we've been able to serve 250 nonprofits, help them triple their impact, and help them serve 80 million, that's more children than they had in the past. And so some of the stories are just phenomenal. I know you're working in Guatemala. We're working with one program where they're training youth leaders, and they've gone into some of these villages in Guatemala and completely refurbished their school cafeterias, raised money from the villages themselves so it's sustainable, and increased their nutritional intake for these kids dramatically. In India, we've got, as I said, 30 different nonprofits we work with. It's just, phenomenal. A couple examples. One, we're actually doing a very interesting program, which you might be interested in collaborating with, is we're working with the Rotary International Global Grant Fund. Do you guys know what that is? Yeah, so we're partnering with one of our fellows in India. They've done a phenomenal job of taking these kids from slum areas, many of whom have become addicted to drugs because the gangs have forced them to become addicted to drugs because it is easier to make them more compliant in terms of begging. And they've been able to work with entire families and get those kids back in school. And so we are now doing a program with the Global Grant Fund to raise money to hire a bus to bring those kids from the slum areas to these special camps. And their success rate is phenomenal. And so we, as part of the Global Grant Fund funding, we're providing some additional capacity support so that the bus is going to be running 10 years from now, and that the program is going to grow, and they'll be able to buy more buses and expand the camps. So that's the kind of work that we're doing. And so here's an example of a program that we did. So here's this woman, Lauren Riley. She was just started up like $50,000 in the bank in her nonprofit. She had this idea because she was working in the Bronx as a teacher, and these kids weren't going anywhere. And so she started a program called Suit Up that would get kids in front of big corporations to teach them business skills. And then in some cases, these students were actually hired by these companies. And so within 3 years of our work, she was able to grow phenomenally. It's basically over $3 million. And now she is the executive director of Gratitude Network. So it's a great success story. And I wish she was here instead of me because she's a dynamic speaker. But that's an example of what we do. So what we do is we provide basically 4 things. One is one-on-one executive coaching. So we will match each of our fellows. We do about 35 fellows per year with a professional coach. And so, are any of you guys done leadership coaching or been? Okay, great. You should let me know because we're recruiting for coaches. Before I was the interim executive director of Gratitude Network, I was a coach for a number of years, and it's one of the most gratifying, satisfying things I've ever done. Because you meet with somebody who might be from Nepal or Guatemala or what have you via Zoom for at least 1 hour a month, and you're advising them. We had one fellow, this is just a typical example, they came to us, they were like this close to quitting because the burnout factor is really high. At the end of the program, they felt empowered, they knew what to do, and now they feel they're strong and they're growing their organization. So that coaching really matters. So if you're interested, talk to me. We do, so here's the coaching and some quotes that I hope you can read, but you coach everything on just how to set boundaries, how to delegate, how to have work-life balance, and how to operate the business efficiently. We also provide kind of a mini MBA program where we'll run people through a scaling up curriculum and we'll teach them how to run a business. And one reason I went to Bechtel and Deloitte Consulting, because I think that's valuable. And one thing sometimes we forget is that nonprofits are corporations. They are, in fact, a business. But sometimes the people who start these nonprofits don't have business skills. And so we train them in how to scale, how to measure their impact, which is a big struggle for a lot of nonprofits, and how to communicate that impact out to potential donors. I went too far. Whoops. What am I doing here? Oh my goodness, I've gone off script! Here we go. I'll keep talking and hopefully we'll circle back around to this. So, another thing that we do is peer networking. And we do this in a group setting, and so a lot of our nonprofits will learn from each other. It's extremely valuable. They'll share lessons learned. And then we do conferences, we do active seminars, we do something which I think is, I would love to have you guys join if you're interested. 4 times a year, we'll do a panel about a subject. And our focus is on children and youth, but it could be education, it could be career development, it could be how to prevent child trafficking, which is a huge issue in Alameda County, which I'm sure you know about. We've had panel discussions on those. And so if you'd like to join those, they're really interesting. You really get to meet our fellows and past fellows and have them talk about the situation on the ground, like what are they doing about child trafficking. It's very interesting. So I would invite you to contact me, and you'll see it at the end, but my email address is steve@gratitudenetwork.org. I've got business cards. It's all good. So we do those things, and as a result, as I said, we can show a 3x growth in the number of children and youth served, a huge increase in the number of youth served per staff. So we're actually interested in operational efficiency. We increased our revenue by 38% after a year. The typical nonprofit will increase their revenue maybe by 7 to 10% a year. So that's good. 9 out of 10 recommend us. One thing that's really important, and I told you about this, of the longevity of nonprofits, that I'd say about 95% of the nonprofits that we've supported in the past are still going strong. That's huge. And one reason why we can say that is not just the work we do, which is kind of a small part, it's helpful, but we do a really good job of screening and identifying high potential nonprofits, kind of like a VC model. And so we identify the ones that have the potential to grow, they have a viable business model, and then we invest in them to do even more than what they do. And I can show on average that they're able to increase the number of students or youth that they serve by over 2,000 after a year. And as a result, if you do the math, it costs about $10,000 for us to fund a scholarship for a year. Like put a nonprofit through our program for a year. Everything from the whole rigorous training to the business classes, the whole thing. And so we can show that for every $4 that we get, we're able to help a nonprofit serve another child. So we're big on metrics. And then as a result, they've actually served, I guess, 87 million, which is the latest data. So our focus is on children and youth, and that's education and learning, children's health and well-being, and protecting family and children's rights, which includes abuse in all forms. We had one woman from Madagascar. Her father was quite verbally abusive. We helped her form a nonprofit to try to educate parents that verbal and mental abuse is not acceptable, and it's not what you want to do with your child. And so not only has she grown her program to become an international presence, but she converted her father. And No, really, like that's a huge deal. And we have testimonials from her and from other of our fellows just about, you know, the transformative impact that they've had, both personally on their own lives, but on the lives of others. So, and this is the program I mentioned to you, how we're working with the Rotary International Global Grant Fund, and this is the Society for Children. This is the group, not only do they go and take people out of the slum, these kids out of the slum areas, but they have another program where they'll go to railway stations. And a lot of these kids are runaways. And how many of you seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire? Yeah, well, that's real. In fact, I'll tell that movie, you know, smoothed things over. But if you can get to these kids within, you know, immediately after they arrive at the train station, before the gangs get them, you can save them. But once they're in the hands of the gangs, it's really tough. And so this organization does that as well. And so they went through our fellowship program, they're growing, and now we're partnering with the Global Grant Fund. So it's really great stuff. Let me just stop here. Do you have any questions about how the program works? Or yeah.
Thanks for the wonderful talk here. I was curious about, I know you mentioned this very selective